So what I've got two rain lilies and two of these Mazis reptans. I don't know what the common name is. Creeping Mazis. So these will stay evergreen. These rain lilies may or may not, but they will come back. They are perennial, or they are perennials. So what we're going to do, I've got one of each of these for each of the bogs that we have down here. And then for down in the pond, I've got over here it's actually a dwarf variety lily pad. So these will be down in the bottom. I can thin these out enough that we'll have about half of the pond surface open once they fully grow in. So that'll be nice. So what I'm going to do, I'll throw my tray back up in here. This is going to be a pain in the butt because they are grown through. And I want to keep as many of these roots intact as I can, just so that they don't have too much shock. Oh, nice. So yeah, you see that? Wonderful roots. And these roots are what are going to be pulling all the nitrogen out of the water. So we'll pull this back. This is just a, almost looks like a coconut core. Almost like just a straight peat is what it looks like. So, and these are planted from bulb. So these will be slow growing. The other one, the Mazises, will be very fast growing. They grow by runners. So they'll take over, but then we'll have this nice clump of grass either in one of the corners. Yeah, we'll probably do it in one of the corners. Just as a nice little accent, you know, something that gives us a little bit of height. And then that this is more of a ground cover, so it will actually hang off the side of the pot, or not the pot, but the out the side of the bog filter, and it'll give us a little bit of cascading, so that'll be nice. Yeah, just trying to gradually get these untangled. I'll go ahead and do this, and then I'll come back when I have actually just sit here, dunk it in some water. And with this, because we are doing these bog filters like this, we want to get all of this dirt out. So we want to completely bare root these. And then we'll just make a little hole in the pea gravel, and we'll plop that down in there. Okay, so that's the first one. Got most of it off. There is a little bit up here that will not come out. Well, I mean, I can sit here and pick at it for a while. So we'll let that sit, and I'll do the same thing with this. These have a little bit finer root, so I'm going to have to be careful with those. Make sure I don't rip too many of them off. But the guy at the pond shop, said that, I mean, these things will just grow. If these things hit the ground, it's kind of like ivy. You can see there's actually some roots already growing off of this shoot. So what I'll do, I can't really even get down in there. I'll just come over here And again, we'll bare root. Make sure we get as much of this dirt out of here as we can, because we don't want that down in our bog filter, or we'll have to clean it out a lot sooner than I would like. With this ratio, bog filter to pond, it's about 10 to 15%, which is really what you want to shoot for if you're going for like a small filter like this, or a small pond like this. For larger ponds with larger fish in it, you will want to do upwards of like 20% of the size of the pond for the bog. But in a little container pond like this, you don't really have to worry about that. But when I do my pond, which this is a little test run for, we'll actually be looking between 15 and 20%. I'm going to be keeping goldfish in it. I'm not going to be keeping koi. So the goldfish will get pretty big, up to like a foot, but they shouldn't get that much bigger. And I mean, with like koi, you're looking anywhere from 18 to 28 inches on those, and just a lot more girth. And they produce a lot more waste because they're eating a lot more food. So depending on the size of the fish that you're keeping, that'll determine the size of your bog. And this I will probably plant like basically in the middle of the that little bog with that grass up in the corner, and just let this, it's going to grow up and around. Because that's taller, it should be fine. It can push these roots out of the way as it expands. Like I said, it's a bulber, so in the spring I may have to come in and divide this, cut a lot of it out, because this is like a super fast growing ground covered kind of plant. So once we get constrained to the pot, it'll basically just be trimming the runners that leap out and over the edges of the pot, and just making sure that those don't get anywhere that I don't want them to. The guy at the pond place, shout out to South Pleasant Bird Nursery up in Greenville, South Carolina. They've got a decent selection of pond plants, mostly larger size stuff for larger ponds. But he did say like this dwarf water lily will be, it would be okay to put in this size pond. Same thing with these rain lilies and this mazis, which is the runner. These should be okay because I'm doing a really small thing, so I didn't want anything that would be too tall. He said these, the rain lilies, will get up to be, that's basically pretty close to as tall as they're going to get. They'll get up like 8 to 10 inches tall, basically, and that ground cover will basically just lay along the top. So I'll go ahead and get the other ones set up so that we can get ready to plant those two bogs. Plant this bottom one first, that way you can still see it. So up in this corner, I'm going to take this rain lily. It's basically just a grass, or that's what it looks like growing. It is in the lily family, and after a good rain, they will bloom. And he said some of the flowers could be up to like that big, about quarter size, maybe a little bit bigger. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm just going to dig a hole. Plop that down in there, and we want to make sure that we get gravel all the way around it. Make sure all those roots are down in the bottom. It won't matter, they won't dry out. That's not going to be a problem for us because, I mean, this is going to be completely full of water. And then this ground cover, we'll bring it over here. We'll take a few. Again, we'll just dig out a hole. Let that just come up and around. Guide those kind of where you want them to grow, because like I said, they do have roots. The runners will actually shoot out roots, so those will be nice. They'll go ahead and plant out. Again, up in the top, we're going to go in the opposite corner, up here. Let that grow out, and then down here, we'll make a little hole. Grab our other one and just let those dangle over the side. Let some of this dangle over the side. And plant it out. All right, so let's go back over here and we'll go ahead and separate. We'll go ahead and bare root this water lily as well. There's actually 2 or 3 of them down in here. And again, we're going to bare root this as well. This thing smells like it was grown in the low country. So we're going to also bare root this one as much as we can. The more root, or the more of this dirt that we can get out, the better. Because that'll help us with water clarity early. Smells like pluff mud. If you've ever been down to the beach, you know that marshy mud that you smell. At least that's the way it is here over on the East Coast. That marshy mud smell, that's what this stuff smells like. But it is a freshwater lily. But that mud is brackish, I guess, so it would be closer to fresh water than salt. But yeah, it just smells like straight up pluff mud. These things are heavily rooted. I would like to be able to separate them if I could and plant 1 or 2 over on one side and plant the other one over on the other side. Do it over towards the back side of this, back in that corner. I'm just getting out as much as I can. I'm not too worried about getting all of it out. We have that we have that pond basket in there upside down to kind of keep all of this stuff out of. Here we go. We're just gently separating them. Pulled with a decent amount of force, but they got a lot of fine feeder roots in here that are kind of just intertwined. along with some coarser roots. That's one. That makes it so much easier to get this dirt out. Oh my goodness. There we go. So it's actually 4 plants. We've got 2 main and then 2 small ones off of each of them. This looks like it was the mother plant, and then you had a big tuber shoot off the side and spawn 3 more plants off of it. They've got a lot of roots, so I'm not really super worried about pulling too much off. But yeah, so I'll get y'all turned around and we'll go back and go ahead and plant this in the main section. Then we'll fill it up, condition the water, and let this start to cycle. These will need to cycle for about a week. I'm going to nitrogen cycle them for about a week, just like you would an at-home aquarium. So I'll grab our main one, and I think this one's going to go over here on this side. This one will go in the back corner, the other big one will go here, small one here, small one here. And we're going to try and keep all of the leaves back here to this back half. So we might actually, we'll come over here and right at the side of this basket, we'll throw that down, get some rocks down in there. And really the rocks are just here to hold the plants in the water. You know, it's not really dirt for the, or it's not really like bonsai soil where you're wanting to hold water in the akadama and all of that. So, but yeah, these will just sit there, float at the top. I'm going to come up probably to this rim right here. Might come up a little bit further. So this is our other bigger one. I'm going to plant this one over here. We'll plant the smaller ones right here and then right here so that we keep everything towards the back half of this pond. Again, like I said, so it's got these tubers that it sends out apparently. I did not know this about water lily, but now I do. We're going to dig out a little hole right over here. Shove that down in there. Make sure we get all those roots down below it. And then cover it over. And again, we're going to put this right up here. While I was up there, I also bought a little bit of aquatic plant food. These lilies will need a lot more nutrients. So all I'm going to do is just push that down in here between these 2 big ones, or the big one and the small one, and then do the same thing over on this back side. And these I may need to, we'll see. I might have enough fish mass in the pond to fertilize it as much as it needs, but I might need to fertilize just the lilies. We will see. And then it's just time to fill it up. Oh, I did say I was going to fill this up with cans, didn't I? I decided against that. It'll take too long. So I'll just fill this up and I will get back with y'all when it's full. And you see, even though we washed out all that pea gravel, there's still a good bit of dirt in there. That should clear up pretty quickly with these bog filters. Alright, so while I'm here, before I turn it on, I'm just going to try and untangle as many of these stems as I can. They'll all eventually grow up to the point where they're floating on top of the water. And they'll all eventually rotate to the point, because the top of this is quite buoyant, but they'll all float up to the top. And we'll have a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to go hit the pump. And so there we go. I'll shoot some B-roll tomorrow. Once this water has had a little bit of time to clear up. Actually, no, hold on. All right. So what I went out and I got some water conditioner, because this is just tap water. I didn't have this much rainwater to spare, but I'll be able to top off with rainwater now that we are up and going. But just a water conditioner to take out, it's basically a dechlorinator, takes out all the heavy metals. And this one's from Top Fin. You can get them from all kinds of different places. This is just what the fish store had. It's the one that they recommended. I don't know why. But yeah, so this is about 10 gallons of water. Maybe 11. So for 10 gallons, we need 5 milliliters. Oh, it doesn't say if I can add a little anymore. But yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'll just unscrew the top. And then the 5 milliliter is that middle line. And so we'll just go add a little bit extra. All right, so I'm back over here at the pond. The water is already starting to clear up a whole lot. The lilies are starting to turn over so that the tops of their leaves are facing up. Hopefully this one over here, the yellow one, will green up. If not, we'll just have to take that one out. But they've got fresh fertilizer down in here. When you first set it up, just keep an eye. If you're going to do this two-tiered setup like I have, just keep an eye and make sure that all of the water is in fact staying inside. You don't want to be dumping any out on the ground. You're going to have enough evaporation out of these as is, but you don't really want to have just pouring water out also. So I'm keeping an eye on that. It's been about 20 minutes since I added the dechlorinator. The water is already cleared up a whole lot. Like I said, most of that sediment that was in here anyway was sand from the gravel. I got most of the dirt out. So this will clear up over the next day and a half, 2 days. I even got some free plants in here. Looks like some pond moss and some duckweed. I would get rid of it, but since I'm going to be adding fish next week, I'm not too worried about it. They'll eat it all eventually. So that should be fine. I'm going to go ahead over the course of the next week and feed, throw fish food in here, just like I have normal fish. But there won't be any fish in here. So that food will sink down to the bottom it'll decompose, turn into ammonia, and the bacteria will actually turn that ammonia into nitrogen for the plants. So hopefully this time next week, this will all be in one video, by the way. I'm doing it all as I go. But yeah, hopefully by next week we'll be ready to put some fish in here, and we'll see. Like I said, probably gonna throw in 3 or 4 comet goldfish, and then maybe a few mosquito fish in here just to make sure that we've got a little variety. But yeah, looking down in here, before, when I had my entire hand in here, I could not see my wedding band, but now I can. So it's really clearing up. I'll check it again in the morning and let you see if we're cleared up or what. And yeah, so yeah, these the pads are starting to turn up. This one's basically floating. These are floating. That one's not quite long enough to make it to the surface yet. But yeah, these are going to slowly, over time, turn up, and there will be more. So, hey Max, don't be drinking any of my pond water. No. No, sir. This is Max, by the way. Max, say hi. No, over here. Max, up here. Look at the phone. No? Okay. Sorry. And here's Sophie. She has to come over and say hey too. But yeah, so I'll let this sit overnight before I do anything else to it, and I'll see y'all then. So I just came out to check on the pond. It's been about an hour or so, but if you get it the right angle, you can actually see the bottom of the pond. It wasn't even close. I couldn't even see past my thumb earlier. So everything's settling out nicely. They're going. I had a little bit of a leak earlier, right in here. The water was sheeting off the front side of the little shoebox and cutting back and dripping off the back side. I've adjusted where it's coming in. I pushed it forward a little bit this way, and it seems to have taken care of that. We'll see in the morning how much water we have left. What's up, y'all? I'm back here. It is Tuesday afternoon. It's been 5 days since I started the pond back here, and today we will be throwing some goldfish in here. I've got 8 little comets. They'll get bigger, and eventually what I want to do is these fish will be going in the big pond that I'm going to be making, which will be either towards the end of this year or next spring when I do that. So these guys will be, while they're in here, I'll be feeding them. They'll be getting bigger, and by the time that's done over there, they should be about ready for their new home, and we'll switch this over to something else. Maybe the same guys, and again, grow them out, transfer them over to the bigger pond, or we might go for something that's going to stay a little bit smaller and can actually stay down in this pond. We'll see. But since y'all were here, we'll go ahead, bring you a little bit closer. All right, so since the last time, it's cleared up even more. We've got a few of these, this little pond moss. See if I can grab one for you. No, not really. They don't want to come up. There we go. We got some pond moss and a little bit of duckweed that piggybacked on my plants from the nursery. So that'll be in here. It probably won't last very long. These guys will probably eat it all out, which is perfectly fine. So, yeah, it's about time to take these guys. And they've been sitting in the pond for about 30 minutes just to get the temperature about the same, so we're not shocking them when we throw them in this much warmer water. So their water should be about the same temperature now as the rest of it. It didn't have a whole lot of mass to heat up. So yeah, there we go. Got a rubber band off. Now we're just going to take them and let them go into their new home. Come on, guys. I'm going to go check it out. So there we have. Down in here on this in this right corner, I've got it's all over. I'll lift this guy up. I've got some dragonstone down here. Kind of made a little fish cave over here on the side. And just some place for them to get out of the way. Oh, look at that. There's one already down there in the little cave. But yeah, it'll just give them a little bit of shade down there. Some protection from overhead predators. Hopefully we won't have anything coming in. But yeah, they're acclimating fairly well. They're hiding back here in this corner up underneath the lily pads. And down here in this little fish cave. We'll let them settle in today, and we'll feed them tomorrow morning. They probably wouldn't eat tonight anyway, just because it's a new place and they're a little stressed out. They've been in that in this pond or this little aquarium bag for, like I said, about 30 minutes. It took me about 15 minutes to get home from the store, so probably about 45 minutes for them to get all set. And yeah, so they'll be in here. They'll eat any mosquito larvae or anything that get deposited in here. So shouldn't have to worry about any this attracting any mosquitoes. And they should be pretty well fed. I've got a oh, what's over there? Just a goldfish pellet. So that I can feed them for now, and we'll see how it goes. Alright, I'll come back and check with you all tomorrow. I'll show you the first little feeding, see how they do with that, and before you know it, they should be all set up and ready to go and living their best life.
What's up, y'all? So we're out here at the pond again. Gonna be a little feeding time. I got a little bit of goldfish flake as well as pellets. So there's a couple that are larger that need a little bit more food. So that's what I'm using the pellets for. I'll only throw like 5 or 6 of those in there. And the rest of it will all be flake. Eventually all of the fish should get to the size where they can all eat the flake, but there's a few of them in here. I've seen them eat the pellets, but then they just spit them back out. So that's why I feed both flake and pellets. So I'll take a pinch of pellets, decent amount. There's 8 fish in here. You basically want enough fish food that they'll eat it in about 3 minutes. You don't want to overfeed them any more than that, or you could have problems with water clarity. And if you actually look up here in the fog filter, I am starting to get a little bit of string algae. That was kind of to be expected. The lilies were in a pond that had a good bit of string algae in it. So what I'll do is I'll go in and just pull it out. Try and do that as often as I can to try and mitigate that string algae a little bit. But yeah, here we're gonna go ahead and feed. They've been hanging out down here underneath this rock, the little set of dragon stones. So there's 3 on the base and then 1 across the top. And what I'll do is I'll just mash it up a little bit and put it down right over the top of that. And then grab a little small handful of pellets and just let them go. They're still a little bit skittish, so I'll usually just walk off, let them, oh, there's one that's coming out. There's a couple that are coming out. So that, right now they're still pretty skittish, so they'll just dart out, grab some food that's sinking or in the water column, and then they'll go right back up underneath the rocks. So I'll just let them go for a little bit, and I'll come back, I'll leave the video going. I'll walk off so that they don't see me standing over the pond, and yeah, enjoy. And yeah, when I come over and look, they all just go back to hiding. So it's been about 5 minutes. I'll pull out any of those pellets that are left. It doesn't look like they ate many of them. Most of the flake is either falling down to the bottom or they've eaten it, or it's falling down to the bottom and they've eaten it. So yeah, they seem to be acclimatizing fairly well, and we'll just start working on getting that string algae out. But yeah, this has been a fun little experiment. The double bog filter seems to be working well. The water clarity is very, very good. You can, I don't know how deep I would be able to see, but I mean, with water this clear, it's a pretty good shot that I'd be able to see even like 4, 5, 6 feet down. But yeah, it's super clear, and the bogs seem to be working. So the nitrifying bacteria are living on those rocks, and yeah. So one good thing about the string algae is I can actually just put it on my bonsai and use that as a natural fertilizer. The top bog does not seem to have nearly as much as this bottom bog does. There is some up there, but it's not a whole lot. It's mostly just on the surface of the weir, going from the top down to the bottom. But yeah, so those are the fish. And just remember, until the next time I see you out at the bench on the backyard, just grow them big, but keep them small.